Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Pre-Market News and Views by In the Money Stocks. Today is Friday, June 14th, 2013. Thank you all for tuning in. Let's jump right into the charts. We're going to start off with the usual S&P 500 E-mini futures. You're going to see that the futures are trading lower this morning by about 3.5 points, down to around 1633 and a quarter. Yesterday, the S&P market did make a pretty big surge, finishing up by about 23.5 points on the session. So a little pullback today, not unusual. We're going to look for a flat to slightly positive trading day. If the market is negative, I don't think it's going to be a big down day. Generally on Fridays, we get more of a quiet, subdued session either way. The volume will usually get very, very light, generally around the 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock time frame. So again, we'll see if that is the case today. But generally on Fridays, we don't look for big down days. Rarely do we get a major sell-off. Now, we did get one a couple of weeks ago where the S&P sold off sharply and the Dow Jones was down over 200 points, but that's a rare occasion. Generally, we're going to look for a flat to slightly positive trading day overall. Looks like there is some economic news out. Producer price index coming in. I guess it's up about, it looks like it's up about 0.5% in the month of May, so that looks to be helping these markets out just a tiny bit. You can see here just a little uptick coming into the marketplace. But either way, slice it or dice it, still down around 2.5 to 3 points. We're not going to make much out of this news. The market cares about two things right now. One is interest rates on the 10-year Treasury. So today you can see that interest rates are falling. They were up here around 223 yesterday. Today they're at 217. The other thing that the market cares about is the action in the Japanese currency. So right here is a chart of the dollar yen. When this goes up, the stock market goes up. Okay, this is the U.S. dollar versus the Japanese yen. When this goes down, the stock market goes down because it's telling you that the Japanese yen is strengthening. Okay, so just look at it that way. This is really probably the two most important factors out there that are moving the market at this time. Looking at some different things across the board today, you want to look at the Asian markets last night. Very, very important. If you take a look at the Nikkei 225 index, that was up about 1.94%. So almost a 2% jump in the Nikkei. But overall, when it was said and done, it wasn't all that great when you consider the move in the U.S. markets yesterday. So let's take a look at the Nikkei 225. And I'll show you what I mean, what I'm talking about here. But think about it. 2% move last night really didn't shake things all that much. It gives you this pattern. Now, it's going to be important to see what kind of pattern is made on the Nikkei over the next week or so, because this could be signaling further downside. Not a lot of strength, even though it was almost a 2% bounce last night. That is not a great move. Now, there is a fair amount of support down here on the chart, so I don't want to discount that. But what I'm going to say is, depending on this pattern here, the Nikkei could be talking to us as another potential sell-off in about a week or so. So it's going to be important to see the charts. That's what traders are going to want to do going forward. Let's take a look at a few other things out here today. You did have the Shanghai index finish up about 0.6%. I believe India last night was another big winner. That was up, I think, 1.86%. That was a pretty nice move for the Bombay Sensex index. So today, if the U.S. markets are strong, we could watch some Indian ADRs. They could also be showing some strength out there. The Singapore market last night was up decently. That was up about 1%. And then you had the Hang Seng up about 0.4%. Today in Europe, we're looking at Europe for the most part flat to slightly higher. Italy is the only index that I'm seeing negative. The Milan market, that's down about 0.2%. Everything else is flat to slightly positive. German DAX is the leading index over there today. That's up about 0.5%, but we're not going to make too much out of that. The FTSE 100, which is the London market, remember England can print their own money. They're only up 0.1%, so it's not that big a deal. We're not going to make too much out of it. Now, as I said earlier, I think we'll look for a flat to slightly positive trading session on the day. There will be some economic news out. Like I just mentioned, there was economic news out just a moment ago. I think it was producer price index. Now I think we're going to look at a little bit later today. We're going to have industrial production at 9:15, and also consumer sentiment at 9:55. So we'll see what the market tells us there. Either way, as I mentioned, I don't think the economic data is going to shake and bake things all that much. What I do think is the currency on the Japanese yen and the bond yields on the 10-year and 30-year treasuries are going to be the market moving factors going forward. Let's take a look at gold this morning. You do have gold trading up a little bit, up about $4 to $1,382 an ounce. Let's take a look at the GLD, and you'll see here the GLD, if we just go to an intraday chart, trading right around the 133.89 level. So all in all, it's still holding steady for the most part. Let's take a look at oil this morning. Oil is up about 50 cents, trading to around $97.16 a barrel. Let's take a look at the USO, which is a good proxy for light sweet crude, and that's up this morning to around $34.56. So good little pop there. It has upside to around 35. So remember, you got to give oil a little bit of leeway here, especially if they inflate these markets again. We'll see how that plays out. One stock I'm looking at this morning is Restoration Hardware. This is a big pop today. I'm not really sure how high it can go, but one thing I will tell traders, I don't have a great resistance point on this. I am tempted to sell it short, but I don't want to do so because I just don't have a great level. It is an all-time high for the stock, but I would not be a buyer here. So I would not be a buyer here. This could be a fade candidate. Not sure if it will fade on a day like today, but it could be a fade candidate. But either way, whatever you do with it, I just would not be a buyer here. So make sure you understand that you don't want to chase something up here when it's this far ahead. We do have some levels on Smith & Wesson this morning. That's one that we will be playing in the chat room. I'll post that up around 9 o'clock this morning. But just a long story short, please do not buy Restoration Hardware up here at this price. Wait for a pullback. This thing is just too overextended at the moment. If I had a good level, I would be shorting the stock. It's just that it's at an all-time high, and I just don't have a solid resistance point at the moment. So again, that's a couple of stocks that we're looking at this morning. There are a few other stocks moving around, but I don't see any major gaps. If we do see more gap plays, we will post those up at 9 o'clock this morning in the chat room. All right. With that said, everybody, futures right now are down $1.50. Not a big deal. Generally, after a big update, we look for more of a subdued trading session or a flat day, and I think that's kind of what we should be anticipating today. And we'll leave it at that. With that said, everybody, have a great trading day, and we'll see you on the charts a little bit later. Take care now.